Hey Bruins, I'm Ava Burns, and today I'm here with Carlisle Wright to talk about her music career, her experience with the Showcase series, and what plans she has on the horizon. Welcome to the studio, Carlisle.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, first, I just want to get some background about your music career. So can you just walk me through what drew you into music, and especially country music in general?
Yeah. So growing up, my dad used to mix me these CDs that I'd fall asleep to every night called Sleepy Time CDs. He's a pilot and my mom's a real estate agent, so I was with my mom a lot more who listened to classic rock, and my dad was gone half the time and still is, and he wanted to make sure that I grew up on the classic sound of country music, the good old country music. And so I listened to those every night when I fell asleep, and then in preschool they make you choose an instrument. To what extent of learning it, I am not sure. But then after that, I went into elementary school. I played piano for 4 or 5 years, took lessons from my uncle, and then switched back to guitar. So I've been writing and singing alongside of playing for pretty much as long as I can remember. I recorded my first solo written Christmas song in 4th grade. So it's been a long journey.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, you talked a little bit about like the CDs and everything like that. But like after you recorded your first thing, like what made you stick with country music? Because you also have like some rock influences, like you said, from your mom, like those classics. What really like kept you with country music?
Honestly, alongside of growing up on that sound, as you get older and as I got older, I started to realize that was not what was on the radio. And growing up with that sound, it is a part of my childhood. It's a part of my family and their culture. And not hearing that on the radio or not having artists that, at least at that time, were around me that were bringing that sound back, it felt important to me to do that just because it is such a big part of my life and growing up. And so that lost sound on the radio shouldn't be lost. It should remain on the radio, and it should be a relevant sound that, you know, the generation after me should grow up with, like my kids later on down the line. And I didn't think it should stop in the 90s. So just wanting to keep that sound relevant, really.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that there's been a resurgence of country music recently?
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot in class, in different classes, honestly, but there's a pendulum in the music industry. You know, there was a huge bring up of bro country, and now it's swinging back to that classic sound. You know, Zach Top really is starting to bring that back, and there's a lot of people that are doing that similar thing of the traditional country sound. And honestly, I have yet to see a female artist that has focused solely on traditional country. There are people that have that sound and have a flair of it, but as far as staying down that lane, I have yet to see that. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do is be that female sound of traditional country music.
Yeah, that's so inspirational. What do you think draws listeners into country music specifically, and your music as well?
I've also talked about this a lot recently. Country music is about storytelling. You know, whether it's the truth or not, because you also have those stories that people write about that they've never lived, but they know someone else that's lived them. So it's still coming from a truthful part of their heart. And I just think the storytelling aspect is relevant to other people. It draws them in. That's kind of how you're like, oh, I've gone through that too. And it makes you want to listen to it and understand that people are going through the same thing as you, whatever that looks like and sounds like for them. And as far as my sound goes, along with traditional country, you know, the people that are bringing it back right now are a bit older than me. Not too much, but, you know, still they've got years on me.
Yeah.
And back in the 70s and 90s, well, obviously they're pretty much passed away by now, if not getting up there for sure, unfortunately. And so to have a young female that's trying to bring this sound back, you're hearing stories from a 20-year-old who loves the sound of traditional country. So my sound is going to sound a lot different than Zach Top's because he's further in life than I am. And so to hear the young, I want to say young sound and young storytelling, but mixed with that classic sound that just feels familiar, if that makes sense. So it's like bringing a new generation in with that older sound.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. So circling back a little bit, what brought you to Belmont?
I'm born and raised in Franklin, Tennessee, so just down the road. I going into the whole college mindset, I with my parents love traveling. I always have loved traveling. I'm like, I want to get out of here. You know, I've lived here for almost 20 years at that point and wanted to go see and do other things with music. Like that's what I wanted to do in college was be a songwriting major and just go somewhere else, which was a stupid thought at the time. I went and toured Berkeley and Boston. I loved the city of Boston. Berkeley was not the fit for me. And then I came and toured Belmont and only ended up applying to Belmont in August of my senior year. Found out I was accepted in September, and everybody else was still freaking out till about May of their senior year, and I had known. So that's kind of how I got into Belmont, was just there was really only 2 options, and the further down the road I got, I was just dumb thinking that I needed to go anywhere else, especially doing country music and with that traditional country music. Nashville is the place to be. And I always knew that, but, you know, I like to travel, so I just wanted to see what else was out there if there was anything.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm the same exact way. I'm born and raised in Chicago, and I had that same mindset of like, I have to get out, I have to get out. And then I went to like the next closest place where like all the rest of my family is. But it really is just such a great campus, and especially for a songwriting major, like, and somebody who's so, like you said, like so dead set on doing traditional country music, like this is truly the place to be. So we're so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Me too.
And then just like circling again to just country music, why is it so important to you?
It's just important to me to keep that tradition alive. You know, Nashville with Music Row and the Tin Pan Alley, that was country music. You know, it had its flares, it had its bluegrass roots, it had its R&B, it had its rock and other elements to it, but the sound of country music was formed and was built up, and it started on that classic and traditional sound. Now it's such a big genre where you have influences of other genres within country music, but it was all brought up on that classic sound. And to me, it's important to appreciate and make sure that people understand really where this genre started and to not forget that, because I feel like sometimes it is forgotten, especially with people who aren't as knowledged, I guess, if that even makes sense, in this genre. But
Yeah.
just really appreciating the foundation that it was created upon and making sure where it came from and making sure that people know that.
Yeah, for sure. And then how would you say that your music defines you as well?
I think it kind of takes, again, like the youth aspect and like kind of having an old soul, if you will.
Yeah.
I've been told that a lot growing up, just with the things I like to do and what I like to listen to. It's really taking what I love in my age group and my generation and tying it together with your parents, your grandparents' generation, your great-grandparents. It's all about the root of like family, really. Family is what I write about a lot, and they're the reason that I love and do what I do today. So I think it all ties back to where you came from, and where you're going, honestly.
That's beautiful. And then speaking of just like your music career, where you're going, let's talk about Showcase.
Yeah.
So first of all, congratulations on winning Country Showcase. That's
Thank
gotta
you.
feel absolutely amazing.
It was surreal. I was not expecting that. It was awesome.
Yeah. So can you just walk me through the process of like, how did you prep? How did you make your set list? What were the auditions like, even like what you sent in?
So it all started back in, last year I went to Showcase. It was the first year they had it in the Fisher Center. I was front row. I'm like, I got to do this next year. I was in the process of forming a band, so it really creeps up on you, the application process. So I had a good mindset, like knowing that I was going to do it this year, pretty much last year. So applications roll around. I believe they were due in October. So pretty quickly once you get back and get settled from the summer, obviously. So my band knew that we wanted to try out, or that I wanted to try out with them. And so I had already recorded 3 songs, that 2 of which are released right now, and there's 1 more that's not. So I knew what 3 songs that I wanted to do also, which was really helpful, and I was able to send those tracks to them so they could get familiar and start learning them pretty much as soon as they could, so that we weren't rushing when we got back to school. And so we started practicing. We had other gigs, so we were really getting familiar with playing them live, what details we wanted to add, what fun elements we wanted to add since we got to play them live so much beforehand. Practicing pretty much once a week, twice a week if we had a gig that week, which we were really busy in the fall. Thankfully, it was so much fun. And so when October rolled around, I applied. A couple weeks later, we found out that we got into the live auditions. So after that, they take 8 people to apply in person. And you get put in front of a couple judges from the industry, which is really cool. And you get to do that. We played the 3 songs live. At that point, had already figured out what fun details and elements we wanted to add, all of which we did at the showcase. And then once we did that, later that night, we found out that we got in, and I was so excited because they take 4 of the 8. And honestly, it's like at this point, I have created a brand outside of calling it classic country, but the image of it, what it sounds like, and what it's called. And so it was just fun to really see that that was being seen by other people and not just me. So then we got to start, practicing a little more and really talking about, okay, what are we going to wear? Like, how is this going to look light-wise and media-wise? Because we, as the artists, got to choose everything. If we wanted to black out after that song, if we wanted it to fade into another color, like, it was insane to see how much detail and effort that the showcase team puts behind all of this, because it's a really cool experience to do when you're in college. I mean, this was like a full-on production that they're putting on and giving you the opportunity to choose everything. It was really incredible. It was just fun to be a part of. And then, winter break rolls around, and that takes a good portion of your time. So when we came back in January, it was really time to get on everything and make sure that it was all perfected. So then the couple days prior, you go in for sound check, making sure that everything looks like you want it to look at the show. And then the show day, you're there all day long. We got there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't gone until 11 p.m. that night. So it's a long day, but it's really fun to just see how excited everyone is. Obviously, nerves come along with that, but the relationship I formed with the 3 other girls, they're incredible and so talented and such sweet people. I can't wait to see, what life has in store for them. And with all the other bands, same thing. I mean, such talented musicians, and it's just cool to see everyone be excited about something that they get to perform for an audience. The showcase team, same goes with them. My gosh, they're so talented, so detail-oriented, and they are also going to go so far in this industry. But the show itself, it just brought everything to life. I know everyone can say that was a part of it. It was just fun to see the reaction from the audience when they're like, crap, like, this is a real show. It's not just like, oh, we're doing a little showcase recital. Like, it is a performance. It's a production. And obviously we had fun, and I feel like that showed. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, that answers so many of my questions. That was absolutely perfect. How did it feel to be singing? Like, you talked about it a little bit, but the Fisher stage, it is definitely one of the most sought after stages on Belmont's campus, even I feel like in Nashville right now. How did it feel to be on that stage with all of those bright lights and just like the guitar in your hand, microphone stand in front of you? Like, how did that feel to just be there?
It was crazy. Because one, it is such a big stage, and we had a 7-piece band including me, which is pretty big, and it was almost intimidating to like feel like, okay, are we really filling this stage? Are we really making the most of the space that we have? Because again, it is a show. Like, we're putting on a performance for people to watch more so than just me sharing my music. And we wanted to make sure that we were doing all of that the best that we could with, everything that we were given, because we were thankfully given so many opportunities to do so much. And then the lighting team killed it. I mean, I was watching side stage before I walked out with my band setting up and everything, and it was just so neat. And looking out at the audience, we, 1, sold it out, which is insane. And then 2, they haven't had to open that 3rd level, or at least last year, they didn't have to open that 3rd level of seating. And this year they did, and they still sold it out. And we sold, I believe they said, over 1,000 tickets.
Wow.
Which, taking into consideration that we had that awful snow week and it was Grammy weekend, like, I can't even imagine what they could have done, on the next weekend after that. I bet they could have sold even more. And to know that many people in the community and in the industry and family and friends want to come and see that on that stage is so cool. I mean, so many people. I watched Dolly announce her musical whenever she was on that stage. So, heroes of mine were on that stage, and it's neat. It was really cool.
That's absolutely amazing. How did you select your bandmates? Let's circle over to that. You talked about them a little bit. Who are they, for one? And for two, how did you select them? How have they supported your music career thus far? How did they support you during Showcase? Stuff like that.
Yeah. So I got into Belmont. We all started about late August of my freshman year, which was last fall or whatever it was year and a half ago now. And I lived in Patton, which is right outside that fountain. And my first band member, we call him Bolt Number 1, is Wes Phipps. He's my lead guitarist. And him and an also friend of mine now were jamming outside of Patton. And I was with my roommate at the time. And we go up, we introduce ourselves. It's like the first week or second week of school. And I heard them singing and playing, and I was like, hey, do y'all know Folsom Prison Blues by Johnny Cash? And, we started singing and playing that. And then I was telling Wes, I was like, hey, I've really been wanting to start a band. That was my number one thing to do when I got into Belmont, was to form a band. And I was like, would you be interested in joining it? And he said yes. So that was my first member, my guitarist, Wes. And then after that, it kind of just was like, all right, we have to get someone from pretty much every major of instrument that I needed. So I'm pretty sure Connor came on second. Connor McIlvain's my drummer, incredible musician and friend. I mean, all of them, they've become like such good friends of mine at this point. But I believe he came on second, and then it kind of just kept developing, who knows who, and are they interested in joining a band. So I've got Michaela Hennenkamp on fiddle, my best girlfriend. She keeps me sane in a band of boys. And then I've got, now he's the newest, Carlo Welsh is on bass. He came to Belmont this year. And then I've got, right now, I have Andrew Selecki on keys. And I had Soren last semester, but he's abroad now. So
okay, yeah.
I've had a couple people for keys. And then I've got an outside musician, Jacob Stevens, on steel guitar. So it just started about a year ago, and I've had Connor, Mac, and Wes since day one. The others have been just gracious enough to come on and learn everything right before we had to go into a demo session, and now I've just kind of kept them with me. And no one really comes from a classic country background. Whether that they were familiar, they could have been familiar, but no one really comes from only loving classic country, which is honestly the coolest part about it. I get to see them, one, enjoy the music that I love, and two, learn a lot, and also take their talents from other genres and incorporate them into their playing or the way they learn things. It's really cool to see people support me, and vice versa, me support them in just music, but then seeing that come to fruition with classic country music.
That's so great. And then just circling back a little bit of just how they support you. I know that Showcase can be so stressful. I mean, you talked about it's over 12-hour days. How do you think that they ended up supporting you? Were they just consistently always there for you? And just during your rehearsal processes, I'm sure that was also stressful. And just how they're supporting you throughout your music career.
Well, for one, this is the easiest answer, but they are just there. They show up with a smile on their face. I mean, everybody in my band is in at least one other band. Connor has been a part of 30-something projects. So they're busy people. I mean, I am grateful for their time and any time that I can get. And they're always just happy to be there, which is the main thing. You can be a great musician, but if you're not fun to be around, and if you're not wanting to be there, that shows, and that isn't going to get you very far. So for one, just being the people that they're such great people, and two, the talented musicianship comes along with that, and they always are down for another show. They will always be at practice, no matter what, pretty much. And then they share my music with their family and their friends from back home and on their social pages, which helps me drastically, whether or not they realize that. And with Showcase, they were just we're doing this. We're going to do it the absolute best that we can do it. And anything that you want or need, they were going to make happen, which is just I have no words. Like, I'm just so grateful for them. And I told them, you know, at the end of that, because we were like, holy crap, we just won, because we weren't just not expecting it. And I was like, you know, we won. This is not a Carlisle Wright win. This is, I call them the Bolts. I said, this is a Carlisle Wright and the Bolts win. And I could not have done that without them. I mean, there would be no performance without them. Even one less player, it would have been a completely different performance. It is so much of a group effort, even though it's my song coming to life. Like, it is because of them and their talents and their want to do this music career that a lot of people want to do, and they do it really well. So they're always there to support me, and I'm beyond grateful to have a band like them.
That's so perfect. That's amazing to hear. Going forward, what is on the horizon? What is your next big thing?
So with Showcase, you get a couple opportunities, which are huge. For one, we get to perform again at Best of the Best, which I believe is in April. And I forgot that was even a part. I was like, oh my gosh, we get to do this again. Like, let's make it even better. You know, how can we grow on top of what we just did? So I'm very excited about that, and they are too. We are going to continue to play shows at dive bars and honky tonks. So that's going to be fun, you know, whatever those pop up. Right now we've got one at the Vinyl Lounge in about a month. So we've got shows, we've got Best of the Best. Going into the summer, we get to play CMA Fest. That was one of the wins too, and that's just crazy because growing up here, I mean, I've gone to CMA Fest pretty much every year, at least for the free stages during the summer with my best friends from high school. To be able to do that now, and like my name's a part of CMA Fest and my band, is insane. So I'm really excited about that. That's in June. I've got one more song to release before heading back into the studio hopefully soon. So new music and hopefully just new opportunities. I'm always trying to find where can we play next. You know, who can I meet next? Who will meet with me next? I think this will be a great year, and I think there will be a lot of exciting things to come.
Yes. Going to Belmont specifically as well, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind for other songwriting majors, people who might be interested in coming to Belmont? Just how do you want to be remembered at Belmont?
That's a great question. For one, if you have an idea of what you want to do, whether or not it's crazy or whether or not it's like a pretty achievable idea, just do it. Like, set expectations for yourself that, I don't want to say unrealistic, but ones that I've set that I thought were unrealistic were achieved. And I genuinely think if you want to do it, you will make it happen. I've had so many people be like, not at Belmont, in general, be like, what's your plan B if music doesn't work out? I'm like, I don't have a plan B. I'm going to make it work. And I believe if you have a plan B that you will end up doing that because you're not as driven to get that first one done. Whatever goal you come into Belmont with, because there are so many opportunities to be able to achieve them, make it happen. Whatever that looks like. It's going to be hard work, but that's what goals are for. That's what dreams are made for, is to be achieved and to live. And Belmont has so many opportunities to make those happen. So go to the seminars, write those papers, make connections with your professors, because I still will like reach back out to professors from the first semester and at least try to go to their office and meet with them and just say, hey, this is what I've been up to. Like, what have you been up to? And kind of stay on their radar because they are so much more helpful than you think they are. They really try to drive that home at Belmont, and I don't think anyone understands that unless you really do put in the work and effort to get to know them. And so the legacy that I want to leave behind is traditional country is not the most popular thing out there, but that's what I love, and that's what I want to bring back. So keep to your unique track and don't let someone or something steer that away from you.
That's so perfect. That's like the best response ever, mind you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here, taking the time out of your very clearly busy schedule.
Thank you. Absolutely.
I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to hearing this later on.
Yes. Well, that's all for today, but stay tuned to see who else will step into the spotlight. Have a great day, Bruins.